Hello everyone, welcome to Even the Scales. Thank you for clicking on my video today and I hope you're having a good day. I thought I'd get on my channel and make another video right now because I want to talk about the fact that I want my human rights back, I want my privacy back, and I want my free will back. And I want my right to live a peaceful, happy life back. Because right now, I've had my human rights taken away from me. And it's really hard to believe that I'm living in Australia right now, considering what I've gone through. I'm also in a lot of danger right now because of this situation, and I really need help. So I'm also appealing for help in regard to what I'm going through here. So I'm going to go back over a lot that has happened over the past year, and I'm also going to talk about what's happening now. So I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can. But I've had my human rights taken from me by the New South Wales justice system and my family. And there's also a lot of other organisations involved in this that have also abused my human rights. And it's all happening to me as a part of a police cover-up. And I've been going through very cruel abuse here in Campbelltown, New South Wales for over a year now. So first of all, though, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of country and first acknowledge the Dharawal people who are the true custodians of the land that I bring you these messages on today. I would also like to pay respect to elders past and present, as well as extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are watching this video today. So I've been going through this very cruel abuse here in Campbelltown, New South Wales, and it's been the majority of my community and my family members and the Campbelltown Police, and just yeah, that's who's involved in carrying this abuse out, and it's all happening because it's a part of a cover-up that's being carried out by the justice system. I've actually been through MK Ultra mind control abuse. And for any of you who don't know what that is, it's when a large group of people or a community or a family team up and carry out very cruel mind abuse, psychological abuse on one individual. And they do this to take their life. So this is what's been done to me, and this is why I am in such a dangerous situation right now. Because the people that have taken part in this are desperate right now. They're absolutely desperate to take my life. As a part of this abuse, I've been purposely isolated by my family and the community, and the justice system have made sure that there is absolutely no help available to me. So all of the normal support systems that a person would go to or reach out to when they're going through a situation that involves them being abused, they have all been taken from me. So what I mean by that is the justice system makes sure that anyone that I reach out to for help in any way, they make sure that that person or that organisation doesn't help me. I'm either manipulated by them and put through more abuse, or they're bribed not to help me. So, and this is all to make me feel lonely, left out, and abandoned. And what they were hoping would happen is that I would eventually take my life from being, isolated and put through constant abuse. It must have worked on other people. That's all I can say. As someone who's, actually experienced this firsthand, I do believe they have done this to other people in the past and gotten away with it. And I can tell that because of how far these people have gone to carry out this abuse. Like, they just must have been so sure that it was going to take my life because they've taken a huge risk. I mean, there's organisations involved in this that are big names out there. in this country, and they've taken a big risk. So they must have truly believed that, I wouldn't make it. And, that's because they've probably done it to others who haven't made it. And not a lot of people make it through MK Ultra, mind control. A lot of people do take their own lives, or a lot of people just get sick, or they go crazy from all the abuse that they've been put through, and there's no help or support to turn to. I've had to go through this totally alone. And the abuse is absolutely relentless. It has been, and they've just been hoping that it would eventually take its toll on my health, either mentally or physically. And I actually had to create this channel to protect myself. This channel is the only protection that I've had through this whole thing. The health system also teamed up with the justice system here in New South Wales to put me through this. They have actually been keeping very important information from me about my health conditions that I really should know, because they're conditions that they're hoping that will get worse, and they're trying to aggravate those conditions by putting me through this abuse. So they've kept information from me, and they've tried to, as I already mentioned, they've tried to take away all of the normal services that a person needs to live a healthy life in a community. All of the services that a person needs to just live a healthy life and have well-being in their life. And I have gone to different places for help, like mental health, and I've gone to counsellors and that to try and talk to counsellors about the situation that I'm going through. But there's no point, because they're involved. So that's what I'm trying to say here, is that everyone I turn to is involved in this. It's a huge network of people, and these people are paid to abuse me where and wherever they can. So it doesn't matter if I'm in my home or if I'm out or on the road even. I have people that come towards me to deliberately put me through cruel psychological abuse. So I do believe that the health condition that the health system have kept from me is something quite serious. I have good reason to believe that I've had a stroke in the past, or that my heart's been affected in some way by all the abuse that I've been through. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to put me through constant stress, especially here in my home right now. They're using the people that have close access to me. And they're trying to keep me in a state of panic or fight or flight, so that I'm constantly fighting for peace. I'm constantly fighting to get away from the stress that I'm being put through. There's a camera in my home, so it's pretty hard to get away from the stress of that. There is an illegal camera that watches me in my home, where people can watch me. And there's also a listening device in my car, and I'm tracked everywhere I go, and all of my devices have been hacked. So, this alone is very stressful, to know that there are so many people that can view into my home. The community, it's so that the community involved in this here in Campbelltown, New South Wales, can stalk me 24 hours a day, and they can also come up with ways to put me through abuse. So what they do is they watch the things I do on my devices, they watch what I do in my home, they watch the things I buy, they watch the things I search online, and then when I go out into public or wherever, I'll have people come towards me and use those things to carry out abuse. So they'll mock things that I've done in my home, or they'll mock things that I buy and things like that, just to put me through that humiliation, of knowing that that person has watched me in my home and knows my personal business. So this is very stressful, and I want this camera removed from my home. That's the main reason I'm on here right now speaking about this. And I want my privacy back all around, you know. And it's a very large majority of the community here in Campbelltown that's involved in this too. And the police also watch me on the camera that's in my home. They watch me going through all of this abuse, the Campbelltown police. They were the ones who actually gave me the inspiration to and the motivation to get on here right now and do this video, because I just went out on my veranda and done some sweeping out there. And as soon as I went out there, there were stalkers coming past my home to carry out psychological abuse, and the Campbelltown police also started stalking me when I went out on my balcony. And this is something that they do a lot because they know when I go out there that, you know, I can hear them better. Or they'll wait till I move to a room that's quieter in the house, like away from the TV or the music. If I've got the music on, they'll wait until I move to a quieter room in the house, and they watch my movements in the house and then carry out abuse based on my movements. And this is what the whole community are doing right now. So, yeah, the Campbelltown police were just stalking me right then, just then. And I was only thinking about doing this video today, and then I thought, no, you just gave me the inspiration that I need to get this done. So, um, that's why I'm on here now. So yeah, my close neighbours are involved in this abuse, the people that live closest to me. And I mean, it's just random members of the community that can view me in my home right now, you know, and this is just sickening to know, as well as people that live in meters of my doorstep. So there's people that actually travel to the area here to stalk me, to just drive past in loud vehicles or carry out some kind of psychological abuse. I'm also stalked on the road when I go out by different drivers who will follow me and track me, and they will, you know, some of them do like really erratic things on the road, like to try and cause me accidents, or they'll just try and cause distractions and things like that, or they're just making their presence known to try and cause some kind of intimidation towards me, like try and make me feel intimidated, because I have a lot of abusive men that stalk me right now in utes and work vehicles. I have no idea why or what their problem is. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't do it if I had a partner by my side. So they're actually cowards because, you know, they're doing this to a woman that's on her own. So I have no idea why they're stalking me like that, but I'm actually being stalked by a lot of abusive men right now when I go out. I just ignore them though. I don't really care. I just don't pay attention to the stalkers when I go out anymore at all. I just focus on what I need to do and my life, and that's it. And sometimes I even pity these people. I think, oh, you poor thing, like look what you resorted to. Look what you have to do just to get by in life. Like I just went out on the veranda then, and there was someone that come past my house and carried out psychological abuse. I knew what they were doing. I didn't even pay them any attention. But, you know, that just makes me see the desperation of these people. These people are just so desperate right now. And that's because they've done so much over the past year to put me through abuse that they're wanting me to. They're trying to force the end of my life right now. There's neighbours that are doing this right now. There's 3 close neighbours that are really trying to force the end of my life right now. So I'm really in a lot of danger because these people live close. I'm also a totally innocent person. I don't deserve any of this. This all happened to me as a part of a police cover-up. And my family and the police have actually been putting me through a lot of psychological abuse for over a year. Actually, I know of things as far back as 2015 where my family members and the police have been putting me through psychological abuse. My family have actually stolen an inheritance from me. They lied to do that. The justice system also helped them do that. And this is why they are so invested in this abuse working on me. So my family members have totally abandoned me through this. I've done nothing to any of them to deserve that. I was good to them all. I was very good to them all, but they've told lies to steal that inheritance. And they've teamed up with the justice system to take part in this abuse because, I mean, they both had something to gain. The police have carried out this abuse. The abuse amped up after November 2023, after I wrote a letter to the justice system explaining all the injustices that I've been through while I have lived with family and domestic violence in my life over the past 10 years. And I'm still fighting family and domestic violence right now. And the police here in Campbelltown are actually one of the main instigators of the abuse right now that I'm going through. And the abuse amped up after November 23 when I wrote this letter and explained. I just wrote this letter to explain the injustices because at the time there was a lot of people passing away from domestic violence, a lot of women in particular. And I thought, well, maybe if I write this letter, it will help in some way. It will help others. So that's why I wrote it more than anything. And over that 10 years that I have lived with family and domestic violence in my life, there was 12 times that I reached out to the justice system needing help or to put in reports, some of them involving children that were at risk. And on each and every one of those occasions, my calls for help were not even followed up, or I was just treated very unfairly. This has all been a part of the psychological abuse, though, that the justice system has been putting me through. There was police connected to my family and in my family over the past 10 years that have been obstructing justice from taking place in my life in every respect. So it all stems back to those police that are connected to the family. I mean, I even reached out to the federal police, I think it was in 2021. And every time I've reached out for help, one of these police officers that are connected to my family or in my family has blocked the justice from taking place. I reported a pedophile in 2020 that's connected to the family, and that person is still free. I mean, that was 5 years ago. That person's been living a normal life and without any consequences at all. And that's because it was a part of the psychological abuse that the police have carried out on me for me not to get justice in regard to that person. There's also a police officer that has committed a very violent crime against women. And this is another thing they're trying to keep quiet. And there's also the fact that, you know, I did reach out 12 times to the justice system for help and I never received help, or I was treated unfairly. And this is another thing they want to keep covered up because, I mean, how the police responded to my calls for help over that time, especially when I needed them in regard to domestic violence, was really, really just so unjust because they sided with my abuser every time. So everyone's involved in this. And my family that have stolen the inheritance, they have actually given, when they teamed up with the justice system to carry out this abuse, they actually gave away intimate details of my life dating right back to my childhood, just so that the justice system, whoever the justice system have hired to carry out this cruel, inhumane abuse on me for the past year, whoever they've hired to do that has got this information from my family members and people from my past. I don't know if they've paid for it or what, but the information goes right back to my childhood. right back to even the childhood traumas that I went through. And, sacred pieces of my life and my soul have been stolen from me by these family members. They've sold this information to the justice system so that they can use this information to put me through abuse. So they've taken all the traumas I've been through in my life and they keep trying to make me relive them as a part of the abuse that they're carrying out. So it's like they've made some kind of list or something for the community that's been involved in this to be able to go to and choose something from that list and then come towards me to carry out abuse. So they're using that information that they've gained from my family members and um, people from my past, and they're also using the information that they gain from watching me in my home and watching the things I do. So they're using all of that information. Some of this information that they've got is like from 40 years ago. So that's how far back, or even more. That's how far back some of this information goes. That the people that are carrying out this abuse just know absolutely every detail of my life. And as I say, it's sacred pieces of my soul have been stolen from me as a part of this. They gathered information on all my likes and dislikes, and anything that I liked, they have tried to remove from my life. Anything that brought me happiness, and anything that I disliked, they have tried to create more of in my life. And there were even people from my past that were actually victims of that pedophile that have actually sided with that pedophile for money and lied against me in this situation, which is just like it's unbelievable to me that someone would do that. But that's what they've done. They've done this for money. So they all had something to gain. Everyone involved in this had something to gain, and a lot of people that have been involved in this have been, they have something to gain if I pass away, or if my life totally breaks down where I'm not able to take care of myself. This is what they're trying to make happen because they want control of my life. So they want me to either pass away or they want me to just have some kind of health breakdown, either physically or mentally, where my life just totally breaks down and I can't take care of myself, like a stroke or something like that. So this is what they're trying to do. And I have all these people watching in on my home, stalking me no matter where I am or what I'm doing, even these close neighbours that live within meters of me. And these people are all wishing ill will and sickness and death on me 24 hours a day. So this is the kind of energy that I have to deal with right now, living in my home. I have all these people like just lurking, watching, just looking for ways to take my life, but in a way where they can make it look like an accident. That's what they're trying to do here. And over the past year, these people have gone to great extremes. They have, absolutely. Back in February of 2024, my family, a certain organisation that I was going to for help, and some ambulance drivers and the staff of the Campbelltown Hospital Mental Health section all teamed up to put me through a huge setup where I was taken to the Campbelltown Hospital. I was held there for 5 weeks, totally against my will, and I was put through 5 weeks of extreme psychological torture. I was taken there first, I was set up, and then I was put through all of this really cruel abuse for 5 weeks where they tried to cause me a mental health breakdown. I shouldn't have been taken there in the first place. It was all a total setup. And my family and this organisation and other people that I had around me at the time had actually um, kind of got me into that weakened emotional state they had already started purposely isolating me back then, and this is how they got me there in the first place. They made me believe that I was going there for my own good, just to get some advice. But when I got there, they locked me in the mental health ward, and I shouldn't have been taken there at all. I mean, there was no need for me to go there whatsoever. I was not thinking of taking my life. I wasn't a threat to anyone else whatsoever. I was a bit upset on that day, and I called this organisation for help. And this organisation and these ambulance drivers and the staff at the hospital and my family had already planned out what they were going to do if this happened. It was already all set up, ready to go. The doctors, the nurses, the social workers, the patients, and the patients' families that would come in to visit them, the cooks, the cleaners, absolutely everyone that set foot on the fourth floor of the Campbelltown Public Hospital from the 6th of February. I think it was through to about mid-March. Yeah, it was mid-March. Um, Everyone that set foot on that fourth floor of that hospital was involved in this abuse. And the abuse that I went through was extremely cruel and inhumane. I'd been watched in my home before that, and that was one of the reasons why I actually called for help, because I felt like I had been being watched in my home. And then they tried to say to me, no, we think you're delusional about that, for thinking that. But I had been being watched in my home. I had been all that time, and I still am. So when I got to the hospital and they were putting me through this abuse, they had already watched me in my home and gathered a lot of information on me, on what they could use to put me through abuse from watching me in my home. And this is what they were doing. And my family's job in this whole setup was to totally abandon me. And that's what they did. They totally abandoned me when I needed help. After I'd been admitted there, they wouldn't even bring me the things that I needed. And I did nothing to deserve this. I was so devastated. I couldn't believe the cruelness of what I was going through. And my family, actually, the family members that were involved in this, they actually blackmailed me to try and force me to sign the rights to my finances over to them. Otherwise, they were like blackmailing me. We won't bring you what you need unless you sign this. So that's what they were pretty much doing, and they treated me absolutely disgusting, more or less trying to blame me for the position that I had found myself in. And I mean, none of it was my fault whatsoever. And I was good to these family members right up until that day. And right now, I can't be in a lot of those family members' life right now because of this situation. And as a part of that, I've had to walk away from my grandkids. And I mean, that was probably the most devastating thing to have to do in my life. Um, I pretty much lost my grandchildren like all in one hit. And that's the reason I'm not in their lives. But these family members have actually told a lot of lies to people to make it look like I was a bad mother and a bad person. But I definitely wasn't. It's all lies, and they've just made it look like that. I can't be in people's lives who tried to take my life. So that's why I had to walk away. I had to let them go. And while I was in that hospital, every single right was breached. Every single right that an involuntary mental health patient should have was breached. Every single one of them. And it was like there was just no rules in there. There just absolutely, the abuse was so inhumane. And I think in the end, they couldn't cause that mental health episode that they tried so hard to do. So they thought, let's get her on the outside, we'll let her out, and then we'll put her through, really harsh abuse when we let her out. And that's what's happened ever since I've been out. I got out in mid-March 2024, and the abuse is still going on today. And there's actually a link that I will leave in the description box to a video that explains what I went through at that hospital in detail. I'll also leave a link in the description box to a video that explains in detail the letter that I wrote to the New South Wales Police, explaining all the injustices that I've been through over the past 10 years that they're trying to cover up. But ever since, yeah, I got out of the hospital, the neighbours and the people involved in this community that are involved in this have been carrying out noise attacks, and that they have invited their friends and family in to help them abuse me. And I couldn't believe the cruelness more than anything, and it's still happening today. And sometimes I just can't believe the cruelness of these people. You know, I just can't. I mean, I know they're doing it for money, but I mean, this is really over the top. It really, really is. And my family had actually put me through several setups over the past 3 years that I now recognize and realize that I didn't at the time. They were already putting me through setups. They were spending thousands of dollars to put me through setups, just to put me through cruel psychological abuse, no other reason. So yeah, when I say that they prepared me for that hospital visit and that whole time, they did prepare me for it. And when I got out of that hospital, the noise coming from this town here in Campbelltown, New South Wales, from power tools, construction work, and loud vehicles and transport was just absolutely unbelievable as a part of the noise attacks that were being carried out. And, you know, these noise attacks were being carried out to try and affect my mental health. But, I mean, they would have affected the whole town. They would have affected the health of the whole town. They've been going on for a year. And these people would hear me wake up in the morning or go to bed at night, and that's when they would plan their noise attacks around those times, around my movements in the house. Um, and I had to go back into hospital in May of 2024 to have a procedure done. And I believe they've placed some kind of monitoring device in under my skin somewhere during that procedure that could monitor my heart. And, you know, I had my suspicions about this, but just lately I have come to know that they have definitely done something like this, where they can monitor my vital signs. Because these people know when I wake up of a morning before I even move. So there's neighbours that have been putting me through abuse. They know the second I start to wake from my sleep before I even move an inch. They know that I've gone from the sleep state to the waking state. Also, if they carry out abuse, they did this last night. They carried out abuse, and what they've been doing lately, I'm absolutely traumatized by it. And it brought on a panic attack. I do suffer from severe PTSD as well. So this is what they know, the police knows, everyone knows, and this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make my heart race. They're trying to cause me a heart attack or a stroke. Last night they did this, and they can actually, I'm sure they can actually watch how fast my heart is beating. And then when they know that I'm having a panic attack, they will carry out more abuse. So it's like these people have total control over my life. They can view my vital signs. They can watch me in my home. I'm tracked everywhere I go. All of my devices are hacked. They know every intimate detail of my life dating right back to when I was a child. So my human rights have just been taken from me in a very extreme, inhumane way. And everyone seems to be able to monitor these signs of, you know, my vital signs that's involved in this. It's like they're going on some kind of app or something like that. And, you know, they're treating it like some kind of sick game. That's what the neighbours are doing here. There's one neighbour right now that's out there abusing me. It's a male that lives diagonally to me. This person never stops. He's out there right now. All day long, this person, oh man, this person is a dangerous stalker. The three neighbours that are joined to my home are all very dangerous, vicious stalkers who are focused on taking my life and have been for over a year. So the noise attacks here have been going on for over a year, and the amount of unnecessary transport that was used for these would have been just absolutely astronomical. They were using trains, planes, light planes, jumbo jets, the police with their sirens, fire brigade, loud vehicles, trucks, motorbikes, trail bikes, you name it, they were using it, and it was all unnecessary traffic. They'd start these up, at night when I go to bed or when I first wake up of the morning, like just to try and create stress. Sometimes I would wake up at 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and sometimes it would just be one vehicle involved, like a trail bike, that they would send riding around the streets really loud at that time in the morning. Sometimes it'd be a full-on noise attack, though, involving hundreds of vehicles at 3 a.m. There was no noise restrictions. There was no restrictions or regulation to the pollution that was being created for over a year. There hasn't been. And yeah, it would have taken its toll on the whole community here and the environment for sure. And because I've been talking about this on these videos, this is why a lot of the abuse has calmed down, but they are still hitting me with this intense abuse in my home because of these three neighbours that are joined to my home. They are being used right now to take my life. They're being paid to take my life. There's also stalkers that still come towards me when I go out as well. So they follow me to carry out cruel abuse. But as I said, I ignore those people. I actually pity them that they've got to stoop that low in their life. But anyway, the cops stalk me every single day, and they were just stalking me before, and they do this to cause me stress, anxiety, and fear. And they also do this, to try and make me give up hope on my life as well, because there's no help here for me. There's no one to call on for help here in Campbelltown, New South Wales, which is why I have to make these videos and create awareness of this. And they actually, if they know that the neighbours are abusing me and they see me distressed, they will come in and stalk to encourage the neighbours to abuse me more. And they do this either in the highway patrol or the helicopter. There was one day there where when I say the abuse is over the top by these people, the helicopter actually circled over my home 50 times or more on this one day to try and intimidate me and to try and cause me to have a panic attack. So this is how much the police have been involved in this here in Campbelltown. And people can view my devices as well. I have no privacy. If I make appointments or anything like that, or if I buy anything online, everyone sees what I'm doing. They can create abuse around that, so they can follow me to appointments, to carry out abuse in waiting rooms and things like that. Or the things I buy, they can create delays with the things I buy, with deliveries and things like that. Sometimes even if I've gone to other suburbs, people will follow me to other suburbs to carry out abuse as well, like suburbs that are close by here. And it's people from all walks of life, young, old, senior citizens. There's a lot of senior citizens involved in this. There's a lot. And what they'll do, they'll mock stuff that I've done in my home, or they also send people that look like my abusers as well, abusers from my past. So it's like there's some kind of list that people can go to take things off to that they can use to carry out abuse, or maybe there's photos up of my abusers, and if they look like a certain person, they pass to be able to carry out abuse and get paid for it. But it's like some kind of game to these people, some kind of sick game. It really is. And There's a lot of businesses that have been invested in this as well. And they will also carry out abuse when I visit their businesses in some way. And they send fake shoppers to the shops I go into and things like that. And they're doing this to try and stop me from going out, to make me feel too scared and worried to go out. But it doesn't stop me. Um, because the psychological abuse that they carry out, it's meant to try and make me feel insecure. But see, I've healed that part of myself, and I don't feel insecure with myself at all. I'm actually very proud of myself and how far I've come, considering the abuse that I've been through. So it's very hard for these people to um, like stir up my traumas and cause me grief in that way because, yeah, like I know who I am and no one can tell me otherwise. But that's what they try and do. They try and play on my insecurities. And they'll also send a lot of stalkers past my home, like just then when I went out on the veranda. Obviously, someone that watches into my home just seen that I went out on my veranda, so they thought they'd walk past and carry out some psychological abuse. I've seen this person before carry out abuse, so I know who they are and I knew exactly what they were doing. But I definitely wasn't meant to survive this at all. So they've done this to other people in the past and gotten away with it. People haven't been so lucky. And this is why I want to create awareness of this as well, because, this is going on. This is going on in places that you would never expect. I mean, first of all, who would expect this to be going on in Australia for a start, where someone's human rights would be taken from them in such an extreme and drastic way, to take their life? And, it's happening here in southwestern Sydney, in Campbelltown, New South Wales. And yeah, the reason that they've tried to make me, want to take my own life, and they've tried to make me feel like, I don't want to go anywhere or do anything, but it hasn't worked. And this is because, yeah, I value myself and I really value my life a lot. So they haven't been able to do this. I have a very strong will to live. So their plan's gone wrong. It has. And it's like some of these people just can't accept it. So they're trying to force the end of my life. And these three neighbours that are joined to my home are three of those people. These people have done so much to try and take my life over the past year. They're being paid to do that, and they are still doing this right now. Right this second, one of them still is. So one of them was last night too, and up until a few days ago, one of the other ones was. So they seem to take turns with their abuse, and these people just can't accept it. They just can't. And yeah, the justice system wasn't expecting me to stick up for my life in this way. So you can hear one of them out there now using a power tool. This person uses power tools every day. They just do it just to try and cause me stress. But I've said before on this channel, I can handle noise now. I can handle anything after what these neighbours have put me through, because these neighbours have actually been controlling the air in my home, because my landlord, St George Community Housing, is also involved in this. And they have teamed up with the justice system and these neighbours, and they have actually rigged these three neighbours' range hoods in their home so that they could abuse the air in my home. And this means that they can send anything they like through their range hoods into my home and control the air in my home. And, they have gas stovetops underneath these range hoods. So this is why I'm in so much danger right now. Up until last night, one of these neighbours was still trying to control the air in my home, and that's when I had a panic attack. Because it does. I mean, it's really traumatised me, because they've been doing this for months. One of them was using cigarette smoke, toxic cigarette smoke. And, you know, they were probably planning on taking my life with the gas and making it look like an accident, you know, considering I've been through all this abuse. Um, it would probably look like I would be someone who would want to take my life because of the abuse that I've been through and my family. That's another reason everyone was so quick to be a part of this was because they knew that I had a very uncaring, abusive family. So I was a vulnerable, also, I'm single. I'm a single woman, so I'm a vulnerable member of the community. So they probably do this to vulnerable members of the community. You know, they have a reason to that they want to get rid of people. This is what they're doing. So, you know, they were probably going to try and take my life using the gas um, by filling my home with gas. So that's why I said on this channel just a couple of videos ago, I made a point of saying that there's no way that I would ever think of taking my life. And I want people to know that. I want to make that clear, just in case these people do get any ideas. So, yeah, and it's because they know that they can get to me through these close neighbours. That's why they've been using them to put me through this relentless abuse, because they have that access. They live close, so they're able to affect me without anyone else knowing. And yeah, these people do nothing else but stalk me and watch me. This is all they do with their lives. It's the only thing they do. They're absolutely obsessed with ending my life. And these people live within meters of me, you know, and they're watching me in my home and they're constantly planning on how they can take my life, how they can cause me to have a panic attack so my heart will give up. Right now, he's out there using a power tool and he does this every day. And what they're also trying to do right now, they're trying to reenact what happened when I got out the hospital last March. They're trying to create the noise attacks again around me using power tools and things like that. I don't know where their thinking comes from. I really don't. It doesn't seem logical to me at all. Anyway, yeah, my landlord, St George Community Housing, is in on this. And they're actually caught as well for what they've done. And these neighbours are just so obsessed, and they are very cruel, sadistic people by nature. And, you know, I can actually say this with confidence because I have been, you know, first-hand victim to what these people have done over the past year. You would have to be very cruel and sadistic to be able to do what they have done to somebody. So, yeah, my family have sat back and watched me go through all this abuse. They also watch it on the camera. They've watched me suffer, and so have the Campbelltown police and just other random members of the community, other neighbours. They're all just wishing death and ill will on me, which is just so sick and deranged. My family made up lies, as I said before. They made up lies that I was a bad mother and a drug addict, a bad person. I mean, they must have just told people I was a horrible, horrible person because they've kept people away from me. This is why they did that. They did that because, you know, they wanted to keep help away from me. So they've made up lies, and they've also stolen an inheritance, my inheritance. And if I had have had that inheritance, I wouldn't have had to go through any of this abuse because I actually suffered homelessness in 2020. My family members had stolen the inheritance then, or they were planning it, and they were actually, you know, living the life of luxury while I was actually experiencing homelessness due to domestic violence. And if I had have known about that inheritance back then and received it when I should have, I could have avoided like years and years of abuse, like severe abuse. So they've actually stolen good years of my life by doing what they've done. And they've used the children. These family members use children. They have no problem with using children to manipulate and exploiting. They exploit their own children. They lie to the children, and it's really sad because the children are the ones that suffer. There's also been a lot of people that have exploited children as a part of this abuse, using them just to try and cause me more pain for what I've been through with my children. Um, and there's also a lot of children that were probably being affected by the noise attacks and the extra pollution that's been generated through the noise attacks. I mean, um, as an ex-childcare worker, I know that the first 5 years of a child's life is crucial. And, some of these children were probably born, children that were born a year ago here in Campbelltown, probably they know nothing else but these noise attacks. So, it probably would have had some effect on their nervous systems and their lungs and things like that. Maybe not all of them, but it would have affected children. Their concentration levels as well. So I want my human rights back. I want my human rights back. I want this camera removed from my home. I want my devices secured. And I want the listening device removed from my car. And I want this demeaning, humiliating abuse to stop that's taking place in my home and in public places wherever I go. And I want my inheritance back that was stolen from me because my free will's been taken away in regard to that. I wasn't even told about it. I wasn't even told about it. And my family took my free will away completely. They had no right to because they based everything they've based on lies. And they've done it for money, greed. That's why they did it. So there's nothing that my family members haven't done just about to try and take everything from me. Absolutely everything. I mean, they've stolen. They've, they've stolen parts of my soul. They've pretty much stolen my whole birthright as a person and just tried to pretend that I didn't exist. So that's what my family's done. They spent thousands on setups to do this. And I've suffered hours and hours of cruel, inhumane abuse every single day for at least a year here in Campbelltown, New South Wales. My right to justice has been stolen from me. My right to proper justice, my right to proper health care has been stolen from me, and I've just had to live this life of uncertainty, just not knowing from one day to the next what's going to happen because there's just no support at all. This is why I need help. And the fact that these people that live close and others that have done so much as a part of this abuse are just so hell bent on me losing my life right now, I'm in a lot of danger. I really need help. I'm really appealing to people out there if anyone can help me in this situation by creating more awareness of this, by creating more publicity around this, because people need to know. People need to know that the justice system, and there are communities out there that do this to people. And my right to move around freely in life has been taken away. My right to move around freely and live a happy, peaceful life. It's been taken away from me. It's like my family and the whole community has just tried to force my death. That is the truth of what's going on here. And there's, family members have just pretended I didn't exist anymore. So I do still exist, and my rights definitely do matter. And I'm going to continue to speak up about what's happened to me here, and I'm going to continue to save my own life and I'm do whatever I have to do that. So if there's anyone out there that can help me raise awareness of this, if you can, please share the video. If you've watched this to the end, thank you so much, because I know it's been a long video, but I wanted to go back over everything because it's been a while since I've done that on this channel. That's really all I can do now, is just, keep speaking the truth of what's happened here and just tell people about where it's at now and what's going on. And I want justice, and I want this camera taken from my home. That's the main thing I want. So these people are caught, though. I know they're caught. They are caught, and there's no getting out of what they've done because they've just gone too far. And they wasn't expecting me to survive. It's as simple as that. So thank you so much once again if you've watched this to the end, and I will talk to you on the next one. Goodbye and God bless.